What is Eureka? Eureka provides an efficient and effective way to assess and interpret a range of geospatial data such as drilling, seismic, gravity, and magnetic surveys. And Eureka is this new tool for exploration geologists to bring in all this data and put it into a context to get a better understanding of the interconnected relationships between all of this disparate information. No detail is lost while moving between the different scales. Users can see the big picture as well as analyzing their target areas in detail. The power to absorb all of this data, such as, for example, seismic, acoustic, wavelet data in vector form, allows for extremely detailed and accurate analysis. Eureka offers a combination of multi-process software architecture, the latest graphics capability, and specialized modeling tools. Adding the ability to bring in all this data, even very large geospatial data sets, think of possibly some LiDAR scans with hundreds of millions of points. And being able to bring all of this into one product, and the result is this unique 3D environment in which geologists can interact with data and explore all of their projects with confidence. Eureka gives users almost unlimited control over their drilling data with interactive display and editing tools for drawing, georeferencing of imagery, drill hole editing, surface modeling, surface arithmetic, and contouring. It also has a lot of strong query, filter, and interrogation tools, and it also I find Eureka to be very simple and intuitive. So there's a pretty low learning curve involved in getting up and running with the software. And today we're just going to cover some of the highlights of the Eureka software. We'll go live into the software, and Ali will take us into that. And so you can kind of get a feel for what Eureka has to offer. Another component to the Eureka software is also the field logging tablet. And this is a ruggedized tablet with this field logging software. And you can see here we just have loaded up kind of a nondescript area with some drill hole data. And this is nice because the exploration geologist out in the field next to the drilling rig can get the samples directly from the source and begin to log them with this tablet. And it has 3G or Wi-Fi connectivity so that any updates made into the database can be directly updated back to the home office. The Eureka platform, as you see here, is kind of it's built on the iSight Studio backbone, and has some really nice import and export functionality. And it's not really dependent on a DG1 for those that are familiar with Vulkan. So data sets can span over a very, very large area. And I could sit here and drone on about Eureka, but I'm just a dumb mining engineer, so we'll let the exploration geologist, Ali Strand, go ahead and go through the software. Thanks, Ali.
All right, thanks, Richard. So what we're going to go through today are a few of the features of Eureka. By no means is this everything that Eureka is capable of. I'm just going to touch on a few of the highlights and a few of the features that I, as a geologist, find exciting. So what we're going to start out with is taking a look at drill holes in Eureka. Richard just talked about using the tablet to log drill holes, and one of the great functionalities of Eureka is the seamless connectivity with the tablet and then being able to view those logged holes then in Eureka. So this is the Eureka platform, and we're just going to kind of jump in here. And we're going to create and show you guys how easy it is to bring in these drill holes. So we're going to start with the drill hole menu. And basically all you have to do to bring in these drill holes is pick the folder that they're coming from. And we have all of our information in this wells folder. It basically picks up the caller and your geology file. We don't have any other, we just have those two. And basically all you have to do is hit OK. And it'll bring these on in. And there they are on the screen. Well, you can't see them very well, so I'm just going to hit the plus button on my keyboard, and that's going to increase the size of my collars for you so you can actually see them. So if I rotate these around while holding my Alt key, You can see that we've imported the holes, but you really can't see anything of use out of them. So in Eureka, to be able to kind of label and display holes with colors, we come up into our drill hole visualization panel, and I'm going to select all these drill holes. All right, so they're all active. And the great thing about Eureka is I want to display by formation. So I'm going to turn on this checkbox here, and it automatically brings in this legend. If there wasn't I had one pre-done, but if there wasn't a legend, it would actually automatically populate that, create a legend on the fly. So there's no going in and having to define a legend before you load drill holes and do all that. It'll pick it right up from the drill hole database, which is really nice. Also, you can turn your labels on here. So I'm going to just check on turn on label. Make them a little bigger so everyone can see. Also, you can increase your hole diameter down here. You can use the slide bar to the right, or you can just type in whatever you'd like. The dissurvey method is here as well if that needs to be changed. So it's all done on this visualization panel. And we hit apply to selection, and right on the fly, it will update these drill holes with the legend we've decided and with our labels and everything like that. You can zoom in and take a look, rotate them around. Legends always stay facing, or labels always stay facing you, which is nice. So you can come in here and edit how they look all you want. You can turn on drill hole names, do everything you want, and just hit apply to selection without ever having to close the panel, which is really nice. There's no loading and unloading of drill holes. Close that. Also, one of the great features of Eureka, or at least something that I find very helpful, is if I need to edit a drill hole, I just come in here and I'm going to right-click on Hungerford 1 and go into Edit, and we're going to get this table, and this is everything in the geology and color table. Any edit I make to this table is automatically written back to the CSV. This is all done without having to set up something like an ODBC link. So it's really seamless, and there's no importing and exporting and making sure all your data is the same. It's all captured seamlessly. And it's very simple to do as well. It's just a nice Excel style format. All right, so one of the other things that is a great feature in Eureka is it's able to handle large scale data sets, but you're also able to have more than one window open. So for example, let's say these are all my drill holes. Oops. Shows the entire deposit, but sometimes that can maybe be a little bit busy. So let's say I just wanted to look at a few drill holes. Just going to pick some up really quick. All right. And if I right-click on them, it gives me, this context menu gives me a few options. I can send them to the current view, or if there's more than one view. If I just hit View Selection, it's actually going to create a second tab where we are just looking at these drill holes. I find that a really advantageous feature because if I just want to concentrate on one section, I can have an overview window basically and a more specialized view. And that helps me focus on what's going on. So once we have all of our drill holes into Eureka, as geologists, we want to be able to make interpretations and use the computer program to our advantage. So one of the first things I'm going to show you is how to select by interval and create a quick grid from those selections. So again, under our drill hole menu, there's an option called Select by Interval. And I'm going to use stratigraphy. You can also use a value if you have an assay table. And again, I am going to come in here and highlight all my holes. I could accomplish the same task by just clicking on wells over here. So it's really whatever you prefer. We're just going to take a look at one formation. So I'm going to check on the Umarella formation. And we're going to try and find the top of the Umarella formation in each of these holes. So I'm going to say OK. It's going to run through that quick. All right. I'm going to do that one more time. Pardon me. Must have had something clicked wrong. All right. But the nice thing is I can do this incredibly quickly. There we are. All right. So these yellow boxes in here, or yellow circles, are the top of the Umarella formation in these holes. So What you can then do is come into Surface and Grid. And this panel will pop up, and this grid, it will create a grid out of these points. So we've just selected them, so they're active, and we're going to create a grid. And you can see here the grid will have, 4 million points basically, a rather large grid. And that grid, once we create it, will then be located in our surfaces container. So it's our Umarilla top, and this is what that grid then looks like. So you can create a Umarilla top, a Umarilla bottom, and then using the option in the menu here, there is I'm sorry, wrong menu. There is a calculator option under Surface. You can add and subtract grids, and you can do calculations on grids. So that's a really nice, quick tool to do evaluations on things. Of course, all of these things that we create in Eureka, the grids, the triangulations, everything is easily pulled into Vulkan or whatever software you choose later on to do more in-depth modeling. So the next tool we're going to take a look at is the correlation tool in Eureka. This is a really handy tool because you can load up a section of drill holes, you can load up all the drill holes, and you can run this correlation, and it will show you how a certain formation is correlated between holes, sort of like a fence diagram. So what I'm going to do is highlight these. Oops, I need to switch over my selection. Highlight these holes, and we're going to come up into drill hole correlation. And again, because I've selected these holes before I've gone in here, it brings up the stratigraphic column. I'm going to select the Umarilla formation. I'm just going to do the one formation. You could select all the formations that fall in these particular holes. But I'm just going to keep it pretty simple and say OK. And there we are. Simple as that. We've created a correlation between these 4 holes. This can be exported as a triangulation, so it's easily uploaded into Vulkan. To find it, basically where does it hide once you've created it here in Eureka, it's in these correlation containers. So you can come into these correlation containers. You can change the names of these correlations, whatever you want to do to organize your data. All right, so that's a basic overview of some of the unique features for drill holes. These features are great because they allow you to interpret what's going on in your drill holes extremely quickly and if you need to, make decisions on the fly. All right, so I'm going to close these 2 screens that we have open, and we're going to kind of basically start with a blank panel. And we're going to talk a little bit about working with seismic and geophysical data. So those are in these 2 bins here. Geophysical data would be things like a gravity survey. We have one in here. A gravity survey you can drag and drop into Eureka, or you can use our import option, bring it in, and use that to help make decisions for your drill hole program. The other type of data is the seismic data. And in terms of other programs, the way that Eureka is able to handle seismic data, I think, is one of its greatest advantages. You're able to apply velocity models to these seismic sections, and you're able to load them up with images, drill holes, gravity data, all that kind of stuff, and use it all at once to help make decisions for your program. So basically, I'm just going to drag and drop this right onto our screen here. And it does sometimes, since we're doing this live, it takes a little bit sometimes for these larger items to load up. This seismic scan has been imported at the highest resolution, so it takes a little bit longer, but you can import it on whatever resolution you choose, so depending on the graphics card of your computer or basically just how fast you want to get it in to the program, you can choose your resolution. So this is our seismic section here. You can right-click on the seismic section. Take a second. And there are a bunch of options in here. This view section and view horizons allow you to orient your section. If you click this view section, it brings it into the plane. You know, you can look at it directly. View Horizon turns it on its side so you can see the difference between the troughs and valleys. All right. There's also a few other options in here. If you needed to, you can right-click directly on the section and change the resolution if you are having problems with it. There are different visualization options and color options as well. You have different areas you can color by. And I just want to mention really quick, the SegY format is the format that Eureka handles these seismic sections in. So that's what it'll be kind of expecting as you import it. Oops. So there are a few ways we can use Eureka to interpret these sections since they're such an important part of exploration. We have an image in here. We have a section image. And this image has information on it about where these horizons are located structurally. So this top one is the Umarella Formation. And right now, I actually have this image set to a certain level of opaqueness. And you can alter that using this translucency option if you need this to show up a little bit brighter. But I have it set so that I can see both the JPEG and the section at the same time. If I hit my V on my keyboard, it'll actually allow me to turn on and off from view these different sections. So while I'm doing my interpretation, I can get rid of stuff that I don't need at that current moment. So one of the features in Eureka that is very handy is under the seismic menu, there's this option called interpretation. So what this interpretation option allows you to do is basically draw a line or interpretations along these seismic anomalies to help you build a velocity model in the next step. So what you do is you basically select your first point on the seismic section, and then you pick another point a little bit further along that seismic section. And using this smart tracking option, Eureka will actually draw an interpretation right along that area. So we have one of those already done. Load that up. I'm going to turn off my image. And right here, this is a section or an interpretation representing the Umarella Formation. I can then use that to apply a velocity model that ties because a seismic section is done in time, and I can use that to convert time to depth. So speaking of applying velocity models, when you import a seismic section into Eureka, a default velocity model is automatically created. This means that the velocity is the same over the entire section. So that allows you to load it and view it. But if need be, you can actually apply a custom velocity model. And to do that, we go up into our seismic menu and our velocity model editor. All right, so this to me is one of my favorite features. I guess it's a really cool feature of Eureka. And it's pretty easy to use. So all we need to do is drag our stratigraphic column over there. I'm going to plop that right there. And for simplicity's sake, we're just going to look at one formation and one drill hole. So I'm going to look at the Umarella Formation. And so once I have this panel completely set up, I'm going to come into this time depth model. And the first thing we have to do is select our seismic section and the drill hole we want to tie it to. So I'm going to select the only section we have loaded right now. And underneath my drill holes, we're going to take a look at Hungerford 1. You could do this for as many drill holes as you want. You could tie as many drill holes as you want, and you can do as many formations or horizons as you want at one time. I'm just picking one of everything for simplicity's sake at the moment. And we say, all right. And it's going to bring these objects into the velocity model editor. This definitely takes a little bit to get all aligned, but And anytime you see this hourglass here in the lower right-hand corner, it just means that Eureka is still processing that. So I try and avoid clicking all over the place when we're still loading data. All right, and there are 3 options to tie this together. By time, by depth, or you can actually link these 2 views together. So right now, these views are not linked, and we're looking at them by time. I could click depth, and this depth would then show up in this drill hole as well. Or this, in our most recent version, we've added this tied depth option. So now it's going to tie both of these screens together, so when I move in one, it also moves in the other. It's a nice feature to kind of keep everything lined up so you're not having to go back and forth. It just takes a second to load. And you can see here it's already got an X marking where this top of the Umarilla formation is. So over here, it's got this 960 meters, and now it's over in this screen as well. The depth is also recorded up here. So if I zoom in on this screen, we're actually zooming in on both. I can rotate them around. If I rotate them around, you can see there is an actual representation of that Umarilla horizon in this panel here. So that helps you determine where we actually want to tie the time to. So it looks like it's, kind of crossing right about here. So I'm going to double click in this one-way time, and then I'm going to click on my seismic scan, and it's going to populate this one-way time with the time associated where I just clicked on the scan. And what that is doing is tying the depth to a time. So once we apply this to all the drill holes that we have here, this list of over 20, you then create a custom velocity model, and you do it for as many horizons as possible. And then you can, using the seismic menu, apply that custom velocity model and convert time to depth. And all that data can then be used to help you model what you have and make decisions for where you want to drill in the future, all in one program. And it actually is fairly easy to use. It's pretty, most menus are pretty self-explanatory. Anytime you want to work with a drill hole, you go to the drill hole menu, seismic, and all of that. These are the key features of Eureka that make it stand out for me as a geologist. So that's pretty much the topics I'm going to touch on, and I'm going to turn it back over to Richie to cover questions and anything else.
Thanks, Ali. That was fantastic. As she mentioned, these are just some of the key functions available in Eureka. So if anyone's interested in a custom demonstration on maybe your data or some of the different functionality, we'd be more than happy to set up that custom demonstration with you. And also, as I mentioned before, please write in any questions through the panel on the right-hand side of your screen, and we'll jump to some of those now. So the first question was, is Eureka available now? Eureka was released at the North American Users Conference in the fall of 2012, and so it's a relatively new program. And one benefit of this being a relatively new program is that you're able to kind of get in on the ground floor and use some of these advanced tools and provide feedback to the development team to kind of help drive the development of Eureka software. Another question we had is, how easy is it to create wireframe ore bodies from drill holes? And this is very easy in Eureka. The loop triangulation function is very nice and can create those wireframe ore bodies very easily. Another question, how does Eureka talk to Vulcan when I want to start resource reserve mine design work? There's a lot, all the data that you can create in Eureka can be exported into Vulcan. And so you can just basically take all that data, open it right up in Vulcan, and hit the ground running on the resource reserve mine design side of things. And another question, how is this different than Vulcan? So Eureka is this completely separate product that we've really created to cater towards the cater for the exploration market. You know, exploration geologists have a unique set of challenges that you know, we feel that Eureka is in place to help them with those challenges. And since we're about running out of time, we'll continue on with the conclusion. If there are any other questions, we will touch base with those individual people and answer those offline. On behalf of the entire Maptek team, I'd want to thank you for attending.